I think what I understand is that every woman out there could benefit from a six-figure hustle program or a side hustle. And I've been exploring hustle. Like hustle's like, what's hustle? What's a hustle? But tell us about that and why it's important in your view.
Yeah, so a lot of women stay in relationship with narcissists and abusive men because of the financial reason.
Welcome to the Healing Broken Families podcast. I'm Barbara Lapointe, and each week I host healing conversations around divorce, parental alienation, and high conflict personalities. Today, our guest is Rebecca Elizabeth Whitman. And wow, she's incredible. She is a life coach, podcaster, and author. In fact, she was recently selected as Life Coach of the Year by the International Association of Top Professionals. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you, Barbara. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to be in conversation with you. Today, we are going to find out with Rebecca how you can leave a toxic, soul-draining relationship. Rebecca has done it, and she's going to give us some tips. Rebecca will also reveal her 7 pillars of abundance, and I'm looking forward to that. She's going to tell us about how you can create a 6-figure side hustle program and why you just might need to have one. I think I'd like one. And how to magnetize abundance and even magnetize your soulmate. These are the points we're going to cover in today's conversation with Rebecca. And once again, Rebecca, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Super. So let's just start with the toxic relationship, because I know that you were yourself, like many of our audience members, with a toxic narcissist, correct?
Correct. I was.
That's not easy.
Really tough. So I was in a habit of choosing men who were emotionally unavailable and narcissistic. And when I was 39 years old, I thought, wow, I better marry whoever I can if I want to have kids. So I definitely forced a relationship into marriage that should have never been a marriage. And I married someone thinking I would change him. And instead of changing him, it got to be even more toxic and verbally and emotionally abusive. And after 3 years of marriage, I filed for divorce, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. Absolutely the best thing, because I decided I would rather be alone than with someone who is draining my energy and being critical.
Criticality can be really wounding, really hurtful when we're being judged and criticized.
Absolutely. Criticism kills relationships.
Absolutely. And we talk a lot about these kind of subjects on the show. So I just want to throw out there to our audience that if you've ever felt like Rebecca, or ever felt like you're being criticized, or in the wrong relationship, you didn't know how to get out, just let us know in the comments, because we comment live, Rebecca and I, after the podcast airs. Because I think what you just said was really powerful and probably resonates with a lot of women out there, but you did turn it around.
I did. Thank God I did. So I got a divorce and I went on a million dates. I was on like 5 dating apps, hired a matchmaker, and I could not find anyone that I felt connected to. I decided to do a dating detox. And I used to hear that, when everyone would tell me, oh, when you're not looking is when you find love. And I'd be like, oh, please, how can you not look for love? Love is such an important part of being a human. So I decided I'm going to go on a dating detox. I'm going to take a 90-day break from thinking about relationships, talking about it, talking to men. And 6 weeks into that dating detox, I had a book signing party for the book that I wrote, How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time. And I invited everyone at the owner of my gym's backyard barbecue where I had been the weekend before. And the only one that showed up was my now husband, Ben. He said, I would like you to sign a book, not at the book launch party, but at dinner. And we had dinner a couple nights later, and it was easy. It flowed. We closed down the restaurant because we couldn't stop talking. And we've been together ever since. And it's a totally different style of relationship than I've ever had. There's no fighting, no drama, no mind games. It is just in a beautiful flow. And people would say to me, oh, it's meant to be, it'll be easy. And I just was like, I thought that I had drama, therefore I lived. I thought that being in a romantic partnership was drama. I didn't know that love is something apart from drama.
That's something I hear frequently when I do these podcasts, and also in my private Facebook group for women, Narcissism 101 for women. I hear two things that you were experiencing. One, I was trying to change him, or change your partner, or change that toxic person that you're entangled with. And two, the addiction to drama. Did you feel you were addicted to the drama of it at the time?
I did. My parents had a very codependent, dramatic relationship with a lot of yelling and fighting. So I internalized that that is what relationship is. So if somebody is serene and kind and healthy, then that's boring. That's not love. Love is fighting and excitement and breaking up and making up. And it's the push pull tension of who's in control and not knowing what's going to happen. And that adrenaline is actually creating cortisol in your body and it's stressing you out. But that's what I thought love was. I thought it was an adrenaline rush. I didn't know that a healthy relationship is smooth and easy. And I love that you have a group on Facebook for narcissists, because I would wrap myself into a pretzel and, trying to prove myself to these narcissists. And no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. And that is also from my childhood wound, because by the time I was 8 years old, I was playing national tennis tournaments. And I really thought that I had to perform and win at tennis to get love. And I recreated that in going for narcissists, because I had to really perform and meet impossibly high standards to be worthy of love. And then even when I did perform well, I would just get a crumb of love. And then I would have to just keep performing. And it was just such an exhausting way to live.
That really kind of, yeah, that touches my soul when you can't get enough love, or you can't just, sometimes when women are with narcissists, then it goes the other way too. Then the program repeats out and they see their daughters having to experience this. And they maybe experienced it in their childhood, and now they have to see their daughters trying to get just a crumb of love, as you said so well.
They see their daughters experiencing this in their romantic life.
Yeah, like with their narcissistic ex, and who's now their, divorced dad, and their daughters now have to like apply for a crumb of love.
From their father. Yeah.
Mm.
That is painful to watch that cycle go on. And then the question is, how do you teach your daughters that performing and fighting so hard to get somebody's love and attention is not actually healthy? That women are lovable simply because they exist. They don't have to perform and prove themselves worthy of love. Everybody, men and women, are inherently lovable because they exist. Nobody has to earn love.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, Rebecca, I heard you say that you met your soulmate and he just sort of appeared at this book launch, but you must have had some moments where you had to do some inner work to manifest that shift where he just showed up, or was that like a miracle? And from your perspective, how did that really come to be?
That is a great question. I had a coach, and he told me that I needed to attend SLAA, which stands for Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, that I was a love addict. And I was like, oh, please, I'm not a love addict. I'm a recovering codependent. I've already done step work. I don't need that. But then when I went to my first SLAA meeting, I was just shocked by how much I identified. So I feel like a big reason I had the shift was I did work the steps and then SLAA, and I shifted. And I also, then a miracle also, like two miracles happened. My life coach went to India to study with a guru in the Himalayas, and they prayed for me over the beads that were to help me manifest my soulmate. And I had the beads. And then the other miracle was my dad died 3 days before my divorce was finalized, was my dad's funeral. And I asked my dad, please, if there's anything you can do from the other side to help me manifest in a healthy relationship and find my soulmate, do it. And I ended up meeting Ben on my dad's birthday.
Oh my gosh, I'm like covered in like shivery bumps, literally all down me. That's really wow.
It's really wild. So I really believe, and he's from the same neighborhood in New York City that my dad's from. I really feel like my daddy had selected Ben, and he definitely helped.
That's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure.
So I know that you really help women move from burnt out to beautiful and abundant. And we've talked, and I really love your 7 pillars of abundance, which I'm sure are activated in your life. So I'd just like to invite you to share with us what the 7 pillars of abundance are about.
Sure. The 7 pillars of abundance are spirituality, fitness, emotions, romance, mental, social, and financial. And when you have all 7 pillars of life in alignment, you are balanced, beautiful, and abundant. Now, is it possible to have everything balanced at the same time? No. One area accelerates, another one doesn't get as much attention. I like to think of it as a symphony, and all 7 areas are a different instrument, and they play together in harmony. But what you don't want to do is just focus on one or two areas and neglect the other, because they are all part of abundance. Having an abundance of health, an abundance of friends, an abundance of happiness, an abundance of romance, that is all part of abundance. A lot of people think abundance is just financial. And when you're just focused on money, you are missing out on so many areas of life that are so beautiful. And you might be experiencing more abundance than you realize. And when you start to celebrate and be grateful for what is abundant in your life, that will inevitably spill into financial and other areas.
So, could that be summarized into advice for women out there? And if you are one of those women, let us know in the comments, please, because it's not uncommon for women who've been through childhood trauma or have had toxic relationships with narcissists to struggle with their finances. Do you ever see those kind of connections in your coaching practice?
I do. Financial and romantic are very connected. If you study the chakras, they're both from the sacral chakra. And if a woman is used to a man, money is like a romantic relationship. So if you're used to a man withholding from you, and no matter how hard you try, you just cannot earn his love, and you can have the same exact relationship with money. You could be feeling like, oh my God, no matter what I do, I'm trying this business and this job and that job. And I have bosses that are unappreciative and narcissists. And whatever I do, I just can't make enough money. It's literally the same exact relationship style as being in love with a narcissist. So how do you correct that? You start appreciating what you have, and what you focus on expands. So if you always think, well, I don't have a vacation home and I don't have a nice car and I don't have enough money to go to Whole Foods and get those fancy groceries that I really want, and I don't have this and I don't have that, then you are going to keep creating a lack or scarcity mentality around money and relationships. Same thing. If you focus on, oh, all the good guys are taken, and I keep being attracted to narcissistic men, and the guys that I like don't like me, and I have to chase guys to get them to like me, and you're just going to keep attracting that same kind of guy. So I would tell you, if you want a loving, romantic relationship with a healthy guy, you get to be loving and romantic, not just with men, but with everyone. Give love to the world. Give love to the person in the elevator, at the checkout line in the grocery store. Give compliments. Be the love that you want to attract. Be the abundance that you want to attract.
That's very powerful.
Thank
Would you say that just someone listening and they're more at rock bottom right now, they're in that place where they're not attracting abundance or in a toxic relationship, what would be one way that they could get that going, that gratitude momentum going? Because sometimes you're like, be grateful, live in abundance, and then you're just like, I don't feel it, And so if someone out there feels that, well, what might you say to them as a coach?
I have a very incredible tool for that. I actually went to a 12-step meeting when I was a teenager, and I met a woman named Janet. And to this day, I think she's an angel because she gave me this abundance journal. She called it a God journal. I renamed it an abundance journal. And in the journal, it literally takes the worst thing that's happening, it turns it into the best. You learn how to reframe everything. Nothing's happening to us, it's happening for us. And through this journal format, I have learned to change my perspective from negative to positive and to learn from pain. So I am actually going to give that as a gift to your listeners. And I believe in doing this abundance journal every morning. You will be able to really process your pain and flip it around and see what you're learning. And I believe that when we're in pain, we're learning lessons in a very unique way that are designed for our soul to unfold and grow. And these lessons will come out as you take on this practice of writing in this abundance journal. And it's been the number one tool for me moving through narcissistic relationships and getting to the other side into happiness and gratitude.
Wow, that's very exciting. Thank you. I literally saw like a vortex that women can go through by using your tool. I think, as a way to get to the other side, as you so well said, Rebecca. So that is that's a big resource. Thank you. I think people are going to benefit, and I'm going to offer that in my group as well. All right. So I'm dying to know. Let's move on, because I think what I understand is that every woman out there could benefit from a 6-figure hustle program or a side hustle. And I've been exploring hustle. Like hustle's like, what's hustle? What's a hustle? But tell us about that and why it's important in your view.
Yeah. So a lot of women stay in relationship with narcissists and abusive men because of the financial reason. So if women are feeling stuck in a relationship, if they feel empowered financially and have plenty of money, that is what I call FU money. So they don't have to take any abuse if they have plenty of money. So a side hustle,
I love it.
side hustle just means something that you do in addition to your full-time job, where you have the potential to make money. And eventually, when you make 6 figures, you can either leave your full-time job or keep it as a multiple income stream. That's what I like to do. So a 6-figure side hustle is turning your passion into profit. So some of the questions that you might want to ask yourself are, what do you love to do for fun? What would you do for free if you were not getting paid? What do you some people come to you for advice in what could you talk about for 30 minutes and not refer to any notes? What were you great at as a kid? What are you constantly Googling and wanting to learn about on podcasts like this wonderful one and Google? These are some clues about how to start a six-figure side hustle. I actually have a coaching program that helps you figure out what your side hustle could be and actually helps you launch it as a viable business. And I've helped a lot of women launch side hustles, and they were having so much fun with it. I helped a woman who loved matching people with a perfect pet, and she became the furry godmother, and she has a pet matchmaking service. And there's just so many different ways I've helped women. Someone launched a business as a confidence coach, and somebody launched a business as how to have a more explorative relationship with sexuality. There's just so many ways to launch a business, and I'm here to help you do that.
That's really incredible. I kind of get the feeling that you are really talented at empowering women.
I am. That's my mission, is to take women from burned out and overwhelmed to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. And I love empowering women. I was actually really surprised when the International Association of Top Professionals awarded me Empowered Woman of the Year in 2022. And I was like, oh my God, I've come so far, because when I was married to a narcissist, I did not feel like Empowered Woman of the Year. I felt like I had sold out on myself and abandoned my inner child. And the transformation of going from that brokenhearted woman to Empowered Woman of the Year, it blows my mind. And I definitely could not have done it without God, coaching, and the journal that I was telling you about.
I think that's amazing. I acknowledge you. That is quite a journey and a big shift.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you live with your soulmate now, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're married. We got married on 12/21/21 at 12:21 p.m. because I love alignment, and he proposed to me on 12/20/20.
Oh my goodness. Wow, you have such a nice smile on your face right now.
Yeah, I adore him.
I can only imagine that there are women out there that would love to magnetize their divine soul partner or their soulmate, or even magnetize abundance. I have those two in the same sentence, which is interesting because you said there was a connection a few minutes ago. But yeah, I just invite you to share your wisdom on that.
Yeah, so it's all about, I call myself the magnetic abundance mentor, because love and abundance, when you're in your feminine energy, you can draw it into you. So when you're in your masculine, you're chasing, you're grinding. And when women are constantly exerting energy, get exhausted and they get burned out, they get overwhelmed. What I believe in and what I teach my clients is that when women are full of self-love, they've done their self-care, they have their morning practice where they pray and meditate and write, and they've done their exercise, and they have girl time with their friends, when they are emotionally centered, they are going to magnetize not only financial opportunity and business, but they're going to magnetize love, because nothing is more attractive than a woman who is centered, happy, healthy, and in her power. People are magnetized into that vortex of light and love and energy. And that is what I teach. So I teach women to magnetize abundance, being in their feminine. And it's just an easier, way more playful, fun way to live for women than to exhaust themselves trying to force things to happen. And I know, because I used to be that woman who was constantly trying to force my energy on people. And now I know that things just magnetize, like me being on your podcast, right? I drew you in. I'm grateful that I did. I didn't take any action having this incredible conversation. And I feel like when women are not, it's just a way more joyous way to live.
Mm. Is there a connection there with going with the path of least resistance or finding a flow?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. When you're in the flow, it's easy. So there's only two ways of being. You're either going upstream and you're fighting, you're going against the current and it's exhausting and you're not going to win because the river is way stronger than you are. And the river is an analogy to life, the force of life, the stream of life. And when you're going with the flow, everything's easy. You're going downstream. Your canoe is being taken by the river, and you can enjoy the ease of it. So absolutely, you're either in the flow or you're going against the flow. And the path of least resistance is one of ease and grace.
That does sound like a much more inviting way to live. Uh, and I imagine the tool that you're giving our audience, the abundance workbook journal, will help with that a lot as well.
Yes, it is a great tool to be in the flow, and that was a huge epiphany for me, Barbara. I was sitting in a therapy session with my ex-husband, and it was a very trendy office. You know, there was like feng shui everywhere, a fountain, Buddhas, all the stuff. And the only thing was we were fighting bitterly and screaming at each other. And my therapist said, Rebecca, time out. And she looked right at me and said, do you want to be? And a voice that was not my own said, I want a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. And in that moment, I knew that if I stayed in that marriage, I would not have a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. And I made a decision that that was my number one priority, whether I was in a relationship or I stayed alone the rest of my life. I was going to prioritize ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. And any friend, coworker, boss that didn't enhance ease, grace, and spiritual dignity, I would walk away from, and I have.
I really am moved by that too, because like you said a few minutes ago, sometimes we look around and what we were attracting is everywhere in our boss, our husband, maybe our mother, friends. So when we move forward and we can say no to that, it would, like, really good what you just said. Blah. I can't even talk. I love it. I think it's very powerful.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So, Rebecca, I can only imagine that there's going to be a lot of women listening that are going to want to reach out to you. What is the very best way to contact you?
The fastest way to find me, if you really want direct access, is to DM me on Instagram at Rebecca E. Whitman. And I do answer my DMs personally. You can also DM me on Facebook Messenger, Rebecca Whitman. You can always find me on my website too, RebeccaElizabethWhitman.com. I have Find Your Meaningful and Magnetic Purpose, a free workbook if you're more interested in seeing what your side hustle could be. And on my website, you can also book a complimentary breakthrough call with me. I am committed to getting you unstuck, and that is a free call. My website is RebeccaElizabethWhitman.com. And I also would include in the show notes, Barbara, if you would, the tree. And that has a link to all the different things that I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of virtual retreats and summits and different talks. And my YouTube is on there. Everything's on my link tree. And you can also find the free abundance journal on my link tree. So we'll make sure to include that in the show notes.
Absolutely, 100%. This has been incredible. I feel like it's actually been a breakthrough podcast. I love I love to close with one, golden piece of advice, one golden tip, a golden wisdom that you might want to share. Anything you want to share as we say goodbye and just put out there for to help women. It's your turn.
I will tell you, I don't believe in victims. There are no victims, only volunteers. And when I really looked at myself and I said, why am I going for emotionally unavailable narcissistic men? Like what's really underneath that is I was emotionally unavailable to myself. I had abandoned that little innocent girl and I left her alone. I abandoned the innocent, sweet, higher self inside of me to go on this quest to making men love me and making men my higher power. And when I realized that I was being emotionally unavailable to myself and that I was never going to abandon my little girl ever again, and I was going to start loving myself and being a fierce protector of her forever and ever for all eternity, that is when everything shifted for me. So I realized I've got to be emotionally available and loving and talk to myself in such a sweet, kind, compassionate way. And when I started to change my own inner dialogue, the people around me started coming in as kinder, sweeter, more loving and adoring. And that is my final word of wisdom.
Thank you. Thanks for being part of the Healing Broken Families podcast. That was a very poignant and beautiful way and a kind way to end our session today. If you enjoyed this content, I invite you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make some comments. We'd love to engage with you. I'm Barbara Lapointe, and wishing everyone a beautiful day, and see you on the next episode.
These clouds create the purest rain on earth. It falls on a remote tropical island in search of nature's best filter, ancient volcanic rock. It's not just water, it's Fiji water.